What is up, heathens? What is up, Legion? Rev Avi checking in live for the Magic Quarantine Talk. What's going on, people? I am here. Pretty soon I'm going to change it to something else, right? It's not going to be Quarantine Talk forever, but what is going on? Let me get my comments going. And we'll give people a few minutes to check in here, like we always do. And then we'll get started. Yeah, we're going to talk about magic, the occult, all that stuff we love so much. And dive right into this thing, okay? So just let me take a few minutes and get people in here. Cool, my comments are already going. Awesome. And we'll rock and roll, okay? So I didn't really have a topic picked out for tonight. I kind of just shot a message into the mod chat, and then of course I shot a message onto the page. You guys, if you want to talk about anything specific, let me know ahead of time. Drop a comment in the group ahead of time or something like that. Just let me know. And I will, address anything you guys want to talk about specifically, okay? So that's really cool. That's a unique thing that we do here. I do not adhere to hiding in the shadows or anything like that. The main thing we teach here is test everything and believe nothing. And I stand on that 100% very, very strongly, okay? So cool. I'll give people a few minutes here to check in, and then we'll rock and roll, okay? So tonight, I think I'm going to take one of the topics that was suggested by one of the mods, which was how to build a relationship, right? This was a different kind of question. This wasn't specifically aimed at like something solely magical. I think this was a question that was aimed at how to build a relationship between two people and have it grow spiritually. How can two people grow together spiritually and start to connect on that level? Let's say you come from different types of mindsets. People don't always think the same, and that's important. So I think tonight we'll talk on how to sort of build a relationship together and grow spiritually with another person, okay? We'll start with that, and then we'll see where the conversation progresses afterwards, okay? So I'm seeing a couple people check in. What's up? Drop a comment, a like, hit the like, guys. Of course, if you have friends, tag them. If you're in a Facebook group, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and link up with us, okay? Jump on the Discord. We haven't done a chat on there in a while, so I'm going to be initiating one of those. But jump on the Discord, and that's where we have our voice chats. Everybody has a voice on there, not just me, okay? So link up with us. Check out our website, demonism.org. And we're always making an effort to grow this thing, okay? So please share and like and subscribe, okay? Cool. All right, so with that said, let me go ahead and I'm going to dive right into this. I'm just going to start talking, and if people show up late, then that is on them. So, yeah, drop a comment in there, guys, so I can see who you are, because I cannot tell. My Facebook is lagging, like always. Facebook is not a perfect machine, okay? So, let's just dive right into this topic we're going to discuss tonight, okay? And that is building a relationship between two people. So, here's some real facts about building relationships, okay, that you got to understand. So, first of all, let's talk about mine. Okay, who am I to tell you anything about building relationships, right? First of all, I've been married for almost 10 years now. My wife is behind this camera, always running things behind the scenes. You know, she's the whip at my back always. You have to understand that. So, with that said, I mean, I can offer some advice, but nobody's going to be able to offer you perfect advice because everyone is different, right? So, with that in mind, we can start to try to address at least some common things that arise when people try to attempt to build relationships together, okay? And so, one of the things you have to realize is nobody, and this is the first thing you got to realize, okay, some real facts here. Nobody is perfect, okay? Nobody's perfect. So a lot of people might be out there thinking they're looking for Mr. or Mrs. Right or Mr. or Mrs. Perfect or whatever. Nobody's going to be perfect, okay? That person doesn't exist. Now, is there people that you can connect with very, very closely in a special sort of way and love? Absolutely. Okay. Some of those people you don't even get to decide because they're related to you, right? So with that in mind, it's like when you're talking about relationship building with a person, it goes to the core of that. There's some people that, you're going to have to decide if they're worth, and this is an individual decision that each person has to make, if they're worth the sacrifice and the compromise and the understanding that it's going to take for you to persist in keeping that person or these people around. Okay, that's going to be the core of whether or not you want a long-term relationship or not. Okay, you have to learn what true unconditional love is. It has to be something unconditional. It's like, okay, even if you're a fucktard, you're my fucktard. You know, even if you're the worst person ever, and you know, whatever. I mean, you're still mine, and I'm gonna have to try to understand why you are the way that you are, whether we agree or not. We can still agree to disagree, and that's the core of whether you want to try to have long-term relationships or short-term relationships with people. Okay, so only each individual could decide something like that, right? That's the core of it. So once you realize that, then it's like, okay, well, then you decide if a person is really going to be worth that. And once you do, then you can decide, okay, I'm willing to compromise certain things. And if you're willing to do that, then you can figure out how to work things out together. Okay, because you're not always going to agree on everything with anyone. And that's just the real life facts. Okay, that's where all of this starts. Now, how do we get past that, and where's the spiritual stuff come in? So here, specifically in demonism, we have a specific way of looking at spirituality, which is discernment and skepticism, right, and logic. And so people that come from more religious thinking backgrounds, which are theistic backgrounds, okay, may not agree with a lot of stuff you say. You know, you're going to want to contradict them. You're going to want to, try to explain things to them. And they're not going to want to agree. Like, I mean, I got people in my family that are super religious. They're still Christians to this day. You're never going to change them. They're going to die Christian. That's their life choice. You have to understand this, okay? And even though that's their life choice, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to talk to these people and connect with these people. That's my family, okay? So we can get past all of that and still connect as family, even outside of all the religious stuff and whoever believes what and whatever, okay? And that's a strong sort of thing to even attempt to develop with people in the real world. And so some people can't understand the context of this, and I do understand that. So I hope for those people that you can start the healing process to reach this point, because it does exist, and you can exist in a world with people that you don't necessarily agree on every aspect with. And this is how you're going to learn to find true love, to find real love, to develop real relationships. You can get past all that. It's like, okay, we're going to find common ground and find something we can work on something with, okay, or work together to accomplish, okay? And that's the core of building any relationship. I hope this is making sense, okay? So this is a question, like I said, that was asked, and so I'm trying to offer some clarity into how to start to attempt to do these sorts of things, to build meaningful relationships with people, okay? There's a certain level of trust that has to exist, right? And then trust can be also betrayed. It's like, do I forgive you, or do I say fuck you? That's going to come down to each individual person, what that situation is. I can't pretend to be able to offer someone any specific advice without knowing what's going on in each one of your lives. I only know what's going on here. Okay, we're only communicating through the internet. So when it comes to asking for advice or questions like relationship building, I can only relate my personal experience, and everyone's life experience is different. Okay, and I have a very deep understanding of that concept. So I can't pretend to be able to offer advice to everyone's unique situation. But one thing that is at the core is with making decisions like that. If someone's worth making those types of sacrifices or compromises and things like that, if they're worth it or not, you have to decide if it's the best option for you. This all goes back to you. I gave the scenario of being like on a plane, and the air masks or the oxygen masks get deployed. The first thing they teach you is to put yours on first, because without you being supplied with oxygen, you couldn't possibly save anyone else. You might think, oh, I gotta hurry up and get the mask on my kids, or my wife, or my dear loved ones, or whatever first. But if you do that, you might pass out. Then you can't save anyone, So you have to get your mask on first and then try to help others. So it's a concept of sort of selfishness in order to have selflessness, in order to have those meaningful relationships, right? So is this something that is toxic to you? And if it is something that's toxic to you, then it's time to cut that shit off. Okay, you have to understand some things aren't meant to be. If it's not something that's helping you grow, then you have to understand when to sever the ties as well, and only have relationships that are meaningful and that are going to offer value to your life, okay, and your spiritual growth. And I hope that makes sense. When we're talking about spiritual growth, what does that even mean? To me, true spiritual growth is the connection between people. That's the growth a person can have towards their goals, whatever those goals are. It can be stuff that's physical and mundane, stuff like money or whatever. It could be something that's some type of mental state for others, or some type of spiritual experience they're looking to have, where they're connected with some spirit or energy or whatever that thing is. Whatever it is for you, that's what I'm talking about here. So in terms of that and reaching for that, you can't have things that are going to hinder that growth. So if it's something that's toxic to you, you have to learn how to cut those things off, okay, and realize the negative aspects or what they really are, okay. Let me turn down my brightness because this light is like blinding me. I'm like squinting over here. I can't even see. Okay, yeah, there we go. Much better. So you have to learn when you're having those, the various aspects that are hindering your growth, okay. That's important, all right. And if they are, cut it off. You have to stop it. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to open up for some questions. It looks like, actually, we only got like one person over here. I see Susie's on there. What's up, Susie? There were some people on that jumped off. I get it. Everybody has lives and stuff going on. I get it. No problem. You can play this back in your leisure. I share every one of these lives. The other thing is, even if it's not something romantic, okay, you can still have close relationships with other people. With friends and stuff, and to start to get to that point, it can't always be about you, but also you can't expect everyone to compromise to accept you either. So that goes right back to the first thing I say, it can't always be about you, right? I mean, you're gonna have to have some aspect of compromise. For instance, if we're talking about like dark magic and being a cult and burning candles and collecting our bones and knickknacks and stuff, being strange. When it comes to doing that, if other people discover that aspect about you, it might weird them out. It's strange, dude. So to you, it might be normal, but to them, it's going to be strange. And if you're going to pretend like you don't think that it's strange, or it shouldn't be strange to them, or like you want to force the idea of like, oh, you have to accept this because this is what I want to believe, then you have to understand there's going to be no middle ground with thinking like that. So, I mean, there has to be space for you to at least say, okay, well, I know, like, for instance, you have company coming over your house. Okay, I know that I'm not going to have, all of my creepy ritual stuff right on display. If it's in my room, it's in my room. But I'm not going to purposely set out all my ritual stuff and have my house, all my stuff out of my house that I know would weird out, like, for instance, my Christian relatives that might come over to visit, okay, or something like that. So, it's a sort of give as you take, okay? It's a give as you take sort of thing. And if you want a really balanced and meaningful, long relationship with someone, you have to understand that that's what it's going to take. And we're talking also back on the marriage aspect now, right? So thinking about having a meaningful, long marriage with someone, it's going to take compromise. It's going to take understanding. It's going to take understanding that they may absolutely do some shit that hurts you, and both people might hurt each other. Okay, now are you willing to put a Band-Aid on that thing and heal afterwards is the question. Is that person worth it? All right, so I hope that makes sense. And so I'm going to try and change up the pace here a bit, all right? So let's get back on the spiritual aspect and the spiritual development and how that can hinder you specifically, right? One of the things that you need to develop if you want to try to have true magical growth, true spiritual growth, and we're talking about like energy, charisma, all of that stuff, developing a real character, just an overall growth, is to be able to develop the truth within yourself, right? And so if you have something that's damaging you emotionally or mentally or physically or any level that's not truly beneficial, eventually that thing is going to come to the surface. Your subconscious mind knows what's going on, okay? It knows. It's that thing, like I said, it's automatic. So it knows what's going on. It's an intelligent mind also. So it knows when something is, in a negative and it should be, a different way. And so you can live in denial and still think that you have attained that thing, but you won't. You truly won't attain that thing until you can, do that work of growing past that first challenge, right? I hope that makes sense, guys. So that's what helps a person to develop, in the spiritual sense. You hit those walls, right, or those doorways. You hit that door, and it seems like that's the end of your journey. But, after a while, you always make it through that or over it, around it, or some way get past that barrier into the next stage of growth. It's a continuous cycle. It's a continuous circle. There's really no end to it. This is a constant journey of learning. All right? So I hope that this is something that can help people, start to get past those sort of barriers that they feel like they have. Another thing is like personally, I just hate wearing suits. But I wear suits. I put on suits, and I dress differently depending on what's going on. In a lot of these videos and stuff, I'm always wearing my little T-shirts, my Rick and Morty and stuff like that, and but depending on in what context of what's going on, you have to dress differently and act differently, and etc. And this is no different from that. Okay, I don't see this any differently than any of that. I feel like if you want to have like I said, to develop those types of relationship with anyone, regardless of where they stand, then you have to learn to sort of adapt to have that person around. Okay? It's the same game. It's the same context. Okay? Think of it as the ability to put on the mirage, the magic mirage of the witch. It's the illusion of the witch. This is the casting of the spell to become that which can adapt to any environment, right? When in Rome, do as the Romans do. That's how you blend in magically. This is the same context of that, okay? I hope that makes sense. So I'm not going to ramble on forever. I'll open up for some questions. I've been on for about 20 minutes or so. I'll open up for some questions, and then, of course,